Sports betting brethren, hey, bring it up. And thanks for stopping by. My name is Boyd. I'm a sports betting market analyst with oddsjam.com. We teach you how to bet like a pro. Today's topic is where to begin. If you're just getting started and you're having all these sports going on, you want to get involved with sports betting and make a little money, have it be profitable, have a kind of a side hustle to make some extra cash. It's definitely doable, definitely possible, and it's more than possible now than ever with all the tools and resources that OddsJam has. So I'm going to go through some tips and some steps and some things you can do to sort of position yourself to be in position to be ready to profit and to use what tools are there for you wherever you're at, whatever stage you're at. So let's take a look.
Okay, guys, here we go. Now, this is a video for those who would come to me and say, hey, Boyd, I'm just getting started or I'm struggling. What should I do? Sort of a roadmap or a recipe on what to do, the steps you can take to put yourself in a really good position as quickly as possible. And the first thing I would do is head over to OddsJam, the OddsJam home site. You can see here, as I scroll down, you can see in the lower left-hand corner, there's betting education. You really need to educate yourself. And there is a boatload of materials here that you can go in here and read about the terms. You can read about all the jargon, the markets, the bet types. Everything you need is here to help yourself get acclimated to the sports books and the verbiage and the vernacular that you're going to see. There is a lot of information here to help get you educated and get you up and running. So you can read about the arbitrage. You can read about alternative markets or derivatives. You can read about all the different things you need to and educate yourself and spend some time. I mean, really, you wouldn't expect to get into real estate or get into stocks and options if you didn't do some homework and some research and get some of this information figured out. So this is the first step I would take if I were a person to help them learn, absorb, educate, get to know the terminology, get to know the jargon. And that'd be the first thing, is just to be familiar with the sports betting entity. And this is where I'd start. It's a great place to do it. Spend some time here. Spend a lot of time in conjunction with the next steps that I'm going to tell you. Now, the next thing I'm going to tell you is to go ahead and get signed up with as many sports books as you possibly can. You can see here, OddsJam I have my 16, 17 here that I use, but you can actually go in here and select all. There is a boatload of sports books. There's 224 to get data from right now with OddsJam. And the reason why I'm recommending you go ahead and get signed up with as many sports books as you possibly can is because then you have pricing options. You have, different choices to go and place your wagers, which OddsJam would help you identify the positive expected value, the best plays, most profitable plays. And so having as many sports books as you can lined up and ready to go is going to give you the best situation to be positioned to take advantage of all the data and all the information that you're going to need. Now, you're also going to get to take advantage of all the promos. And so if you only have funds for, say, 3, 4, or 5 sports books, leave me a message. I'll walk you through which ones I'd recommend, because you have different pricing with each one, so you kind of don't want to duplicate it or have two. But I would recommend try to find the diversity in the sports books. And again, you're going to have choices, and the more choices you have, the more profitable you're going to be. If you have 1 or 2, you're making your job a lot more difficult because you have less choices, less profitability options, less markets, less profit. So that's the reason. That's the situation you want to put yourself in, is to have that available. Next up, I start to really get myself immersed and educated in the markets, the betting markets. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Okay, so when we talk about markets, there's basically a couple of areas to really understand and know your mainline markets, your main markets, the larger markets of point spreads, money lines, and totals, these big three. This is an NBA game here with the Blazers and the Knicks. You can see some of the data and the pricing variances from the different sports books at the different price points, whether it's, point spread here minus 12, 12 and a half, whatever the case. So this is going to give you the tools you need to find the best price, the best sports book for the best situation. And again, these are mainline bets, the alternative lines, the derivatives, things like first quarter money line, first half totals, team totals, things like that. Those are all alternative or derivative markets. And then, of course, player props, or sort of like daily fantasy sports. We'll get into that here in a minute, show you some DFS or some player prop type wagers that will provide a lot of opportunity for beginners. So as you do the drop down here, you can see the popular markets, the player prop type bets. And again, this is where I would focus if I was just getting started and sort of beginning. The reason is there's more variance. There's more opportunity in these areas. The reason why it's counterproductive for some people who have been doing it for a little longer is the limitations on bet sizes can be a little more strict in these areas. But if you're just getting started, your bet sizes are more likely going to be a little smaller anyway. You're not going to get red flagged. And so I would definitely take advantage of the player prop and alternative markets first before I, started to really delve into the more efficient mainline bets as much. Now you're still going to use the tools at OddsJam. You're still going to use the positive EV page and the different tools with mainline bets, but you're going to find yourself discovering a lot more alternative markets and player prop type positions that have some good, solid positive EV and closing line value. Now, certainly I would recommend documenting your education and your information by using the bet tracker. The bet tracker you can see here, there is a lot of data that you can pull from. You can see here's December's information for me. I do positive EV bets. I'm getting into the arbitrage side of betting, which is another thing you can do as a beginner. Again, as you research that, you'll find if it's for you. Different methods, different tips, different components. But what this shows you is the data that you need to help yourself understand and learn where your strengths are, where your weaknesses are, maybe what sports books you're doing pretty good at, what sports books you're not having as much luck, the different bet types, the different profits per sport. And so all the data you need to help yourself understand, what's working for you. Wow, positive EV page, doing pretty good. Doing pretty good in baseball, doing pretty good in college basketball, things like that. So, kind of play to your strengths and use this data to help yourself learn, as it's a tool that OddsJam provides. And so if you're not using this to help yourself understand where your strengths and weaknesses are, you're really costing yourself a lot of opportunity. And, highly recommend getting this in line for yourself, even to practice. You can go in here and just, submit wagers, submit bets, and kind of, do a dry run or do a paper trade, if you will, and help yourself keep track of all this so you can understand what's working and what's not. All right, guys, next up, I would highly recommend you do some planning and some preparation and kind of put yourself in a position on a daily basis to be prepared to handle all the data, the information, the prospective games you might want to play at the sports books. And so if you're a morning person, that's a great opportunity. If you're a night person, there's maybe some other methods and things you can do to strategically put yourself in a good spot with the various sports. And so I think all that's something, again, I welcome in a kind of a free consultation to talk to you about your scenario, your situation, so you can plan this and be prepared and be more organized about it. So that's going to be highly, highly important, because you just don't want to be a scattered kind of wrecked mess just going at it. You really want to have sort of a heuristic to put yourself in on a daily basis to keep organized, keep track, and be very progressive about your knowledge base and your information that you use to continue to build that bankroll. All right, guys, there you go. There's some tips and some heuristics you can put into play right away to get your education so you can have an edge. This is what it's all about. And using the tools and having a betting plan, sort of a roadmap, is what I highly recommend to do, and put yourself in a good position to use these tools to incorporate, which is mathematically going to provide profitable wagers over and over again. And if you're managing your bankroll correctly, doing all the different things you can with all the tools, you're going to come out ahead. You're going to do just fine. This wasn't available years ago, so it's no wonder so many people have lost. But these days, it's not uncommon at all for people to turn a profit right out of the gate, not knowing a shortstop from a left tackle. So again, educate yourself, invest in yourself, and go into it with an open mind to do some practicing before you start playing with real bullets and those dollars if you don't want to risk that at that particular point. But really get yourself familiar with the websites, the sports books, the knowledge, the information. Educate yourself. And again, as always, if you have any questions, please let me know. Appreciate you stopping by. Let's go make some mathematical money.